Hey everybody, welcome to another Hanayama video solution and thoughts or review. Today I'm going to tackle the level 6 puzzle called Trinity, another classic by Hanayama. This one is interesting. It seems to be a little bit more rougher, a bit more crude. Some of Hanayama's puzzles are very beautiful, very sort of delicate, refined, and some of them, go the opposite way. Different puzzlers designed for Hanayama from around the world, and they have each of them their different styles, which is kind of what makes collecting the line really fun. So this is called Trinity for obvious reasons. There are 3 pieces, and your job, as always, is to separate them and then put them back together again in the same configuration. Now this is a level 6 puzzle, and when you're doing it, it will become pretty apparent why it's level 6. And I think Hanayama maybe assigns level 6s for different reasons. There's a lot of different criteria for why a puzzle is more difficult than another. Sometimes it's because there's a hidden mechanism, and so the only way to realistically solve the puzzle is through this sort of laborious trial and error, and maybe sort of getting lucky and coming upon the correct sequence of moves to just finally get the puzzle to come apart. And personally, I'm not a huge fan of those type of puzzles. Then there are, of course, other puzzles where it forces you to sort of use your powers of observation and discern a microscopically small difference in seemingly identical characteristics, and then using that to begin the process of solving the puzzle. And I feel like that's kind of tricky, a little sneaky, not super fond of that as well. And then, of course, there are puzzles that are just technically very challenging to accomplish and to solve. And so I kind of like those a little bit more, where you can afford to play around with the puzzle, to try different things, and see if you can, separate that way. I find those to be the most rewarding. So this puzzle is along those lines. Now, why is this a level 6, the highest scale? And of the, I think, 80 plus Hanayama pieces, I think only about a dozen have the honor of being given a 6 out of 6, the hardest puzzles on their line. You're going to see as I do this that the reason I think this is level 6 is that your ability to make moves with these 3 pieces is actually extremely limited, meaning that trying to move them around and kind of get them apart, you get stuck very, very quickly. And again, one of the hallmarks of these puzzles is you're not supposed to force too much, because forcing is sort of a hint that you're going in the wrong direction. Okay, but this piece, this puzzle, the give, I use the word give to describe how easily things slide and move. The give and the margin of error for the movements are so tight that sometimes you think you're forcing and you think you're on the wrong track, and in reality, it's just a very, very tight puzzle with a very, very small amount of give. And even after having done this puzzle literally dozens of times, because it's one of my favorite puzzles to tinker with and to play with, and I love a particular position in the middle of solving this, I still have a hard time sometimes getting it to do what I want. So I'm going to try to show you how to go about doing this, and hopefully I don't look too bad doing it, because this is not the easiest thing to get apart, even if you know exactly what you're doing. Okay, so I'm going to give you a chance to stop the video because the solution is going to begin. So here we go. As with all of these puzzles, or almost all of them, the engraving on the Hanayama pieces are not just there to add a touch of class or to sort of tell you, what the name of the puzzle is in the company, but they're also critical for orientation, and it's no different for Trinity. So you're going to have 3 pieces that, again, superficially looks very, very similar. You can see that they're all entangled together in a knot, hence the name. So see that one of the pieces has Hanayama engraved on it. Another piece has the words Trinity engraved on it. And then the last piece is sort of the orphan piece with nothing engraved on it. But since there's only 3 pieces, the fact that this piece has nothing, in effect, makes it a unique piece as well. So we have Hanayama, Trinity, and I'll just call this no name. Okay. So this is the way the puzzle comes to you initially. And in order to begin to solve it, you need to hold it so that the Trinity piece is in your left hand and the no name piece in the right. And then Hanayama just sort of dangles. And the Hanayama itself, if you see Trinity here, the Hanayama is actually on the other side. So you will not be able to see the Hanayama. Again, you can play with this any multitude of ways, but you will quickly learn that there's just not a lot of things you can do without the piece locking up. And I gave it to a friend, and she began to twist and mess with it, and she gave it back to me in like this incredibly tight knot. And it took me a while to actually break free of the knot and get it loose again. So again, try not to force, because forcing it, you're not going to solve it, and you may instead create a situation that's very difficult for you to step back from, because it can get stuck. And that's one of the tricky things about this puzzle. That's what makes this a level 6 puzzle, is in the solution, you may actually come across positions where you're going to get stuck. And again, if you know the solution, that's well and good. But if you don't know the solution, it becomes very, very tricky to decide when are you pushing the boundaries and when you're about to quote unquote break the puzzle and freeze it into an irreversible position, versus the fact that the puzzle is just too tight and you need to persevere. So understand that there are some very minute differences. Here, understand that the gap here seems to be vertical, whereas here the gap is horizontal. And in the Hanayama piece, the gap again is vertical. So that's an important clue about how you're going to separate. And let's kind of explore this. So the first step is you have to get these two guys, these two pieces of the Trinity, in a position where you can use the two heads and the fact that their gaps are at 90-degree angles to separate. It's obvious if you look at it that you have to separate it using the gaps, right? So the order of business, of course, is to try to create a situation where you can use them. And that seems really difficult to do because of the way these guys are twisted. So the first order of business is to hold the Trinity in the left hand and the no name in the right. As you can see, there is a hole in both. And your job is to take the Trinity piece and thread it through the hole of the no name piece. Now, to do this, you're going to have to manipulate the Hanayama piece to allow this to happen, okay? Because this is not actually a move that's easy to do. So having done this many times, the first move already is going to be tricky. So here's the first move. Again, moving the Trinity piece through the hole of the no name. You have to sink the Trinity piece down, and then you have to lift the Hanayama piece a little bit up, and then you have to wriggle, and just get this head through somehow, okay? As you can see, I got it to at least this part. So I managed to wriggle the head halfway through. Remember, we have to get the whole thing through, okay? So at least I got it there. And as you can see, I did that by sort of pushing the Trinity piece down a little bit, and then using the Hanayama and lifting the Hanayama just a little bit, and then almost sort of semi-forcing it through the loop. Okay, it doesn't, I just want to warn you, it does not pass through with zero resistance, okay? Whether it's because this is just my puzzle, and that's the one I bought, or whether this is kind of baked into every Trinity, there is a little bit of resistance, okay? Like right here, for instance, you have to kind of put it all the way through like that, okay? Okay, now understand, when this is through, eventually when this goes all the way through, it's going to turn, and I hope this is clear, it's going to move like that. Okay, so it's going to turn toward you, okay? It's going to make this little circle toward you. So now, you've gotten this through, you still have to get this head through, right? I told you have to get the entire Trinity through this hole here. So this is the hard part. You gotta maneuver this, and it helps to have this around a 90-degree angle. Okay, you don't want to go all the way up. That's not going to be helpful. You're going to get stuck eventually. But you have to go up a little bit. And now we're going to try to maneuver this guy over. When you get to here, you're going to be stuck. I guarantee it. It's going to feel like you can't go any further. You can't push it all the way through. This is a dead end. You're going to be tempted to try to push it back. But again, this is the way to do the puzzle, to solve the puzzle. And so this is not going to go to a dead end. You have to somehow figure out a way to get this all the way through and then rotate it towards you to reverse these two positions. So watch carefully. I'm going to try to manipulate the Hanayama. I'm going to take my finger here and I'm going to just gently push with my thumb through while taking this and trying to rotate it toward me. Let's hope I don't make a mess of this. Okay, and again, the Hanayama is around 90 degrees to the Trinity. Okay, come on. It's really tight. So again, there's this fine line where you don't want to force too much, but at the same time, you've got to get the move done. So again, you can see I'm just kind of pushing. I'm just wriggling the Hanayama up, down, until, do you see that? I pushed it through. Now, once you push this thing through, it rotates toward you like this, okay? So now we have pushed the Trinity, both heads of the Trinity piece through the hole of the no name. And now we have essentially reversed the previous position. Before, the Trinity was on the left, the no name is on the right, and because we pushed the Trinity through, we've now created a new configuration where the Trinity is in our right hand and the no name is in our left. And again, we accomplish this by pushing the Trinity through. So hopefully you appreciated that. We're like right here, and I push this thing through, and then you twist it here to, again, get everything loose. Okay, so that was the first move, and that was a hell of a first move. Pretty difficult to even accomplish that, okay? Now you're seeing why this is a level 6 puzzle. So the next order of business is we now want to create a situation where we can use these two gaps to separate these two pieces. But to do that is not simple. You need to get this in position, but as you can see, you can't do anything with this, right? This is a vertical gap, that's a horizontal gap. That's not gonna cut it, that's not gonna work. And in order for you to take this piece out of this, you have to rotate it 90 degrees so that this is also vertical. And you're thinking to yourself, how the heck am I going to rotate it 90 degrees? I mean, this guy here is in the stinking way, right? Okay, so here you go. You put this in here now. You do not want to push this all the way through. First of all, luckily you can't do that. The puzzle will prevent you from doing it. And so if you persist, you're going to get this thing stuck, okay? And again, you're probably thinking to yourself, now hold on a second. I tried to get the Trinity through the no-name piece, and I thought 18 times trying to make that move that this was the wrong move because it was so tight. But now you're telling me you can't do it with the no-name through the Trinity. I mean, how the heck am I supposed to know that? Well, again, that's just through trial and error. You're going to find as you push through, it's just going to get stuck here. And no amount of movement is going to help you to get this thing through because of the way the pieces are. So again, you can't go further than about here. And you don't really want to go further anyways, because again, you want to be in this configuration. You just have to turn this guy 90 degrees so it slips out of this, okay? So once you're in this position, you can see that this is actually a lot looser. And if you're back and forth, it's a lot looser than Trinity through no name. So no name through Trinity hole is a lot looser. And you're gonna need that looseness because you are gonna wanna take the loop of Hanayama, okay? And this is the narrowest part of the loop. And you're gonna need to slip this above the neck, okay, of Trinity. And you want this to slip over the neck and rest in this groove right here. And it's tight, and it's kind of hard to explain, but while manipulating the no-name piece through the hole of Trinity, and you're gonna jiggle the Hanayama, and again, you're gonna feel like it's getting stuck here. So you need to jiggle it so it gets over this neck. So how are we gonna do this? Well, you're gonna have to play with it. Again, this is move number 2, so to speak. So see, I moved up, and then I kind of did that. Okay, so I wish I could kind of specifically tell you how to do it, you just have to, again, know that this part is the narrowest part, and you use the give of the no-name piece in the whole, the Trinity, to create enough space, and you just sort of twist it up. And trust me, take your time, you will eventually be able to get there. Okay, and when I reassemble the puzzle, I can show you again how you make the gap have it fall back down. Okay, so now that you have the Hanayama resting in this little tiny nook, now you're going to try to turn the head of the no-name piece. Okay, we're talking about this head. Okay, these guys here, the Trinity one kind of stays the same. You want to try to get this, and you want to try to rotate it 90 degrees so that you can use the gap. So in order to do this, you obviously want to turn this, right? You can't do it from down here. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring the loop of the no-name piece, and you're going to put this loop, you're going to put this through the loop of this. So how are you going to do that? It's actually quite easy. Everybody goes up, and then you take the no-name piece, you rotate this thing up, and then you should have plenty of room to just put the tail loop through the hole of Hanayama. And if you do that, then as you can see, this goes up and this goes down, and you've rotated the head now from here to here. And then we're going to push that all the way up, and we're going to enter this beautiful configuration right here. When you see this configuration, you are done with the puzzle, basically. You may not know it yet, but you're done with the puzzle, because this is the configuration just before you remove and separate the no-name piece from the Trinity piece with Hanayama as help. And look at how beautiful that is. It perfectly locks together, and you had to rotate again the no-name piece 90 degrees so you can come out through the gap of the Trinity piece, okay? And so you have this almost flower position, the 4-quadrant, and then you have the little tiny tail, almost a loop of Hanayama, and Hanayama of course is down here. So again, I'm going to show this to you from all angles, but the important angle is right here, okay? And you can see that the tail, the so-called loop, the tail loop of the no-name piece, we rotated it through the hole of Hanayama. So at this point, you put it all the way up, and now you are free of both the Trinity, and now the no-name piece is hanging off of the Hanayama. So now we have this situation. So we have now separated the Trinity, so to speak, into a single chain. This is Trinity, this is Hanayama, and this is the no-name, okay? Now, this is the last move to get it out. And, you know, at this point, it becomes sort of trivial because there's only so much you can do to get this out. There's no secret move or whatever. It's, you know, line up the gap and pull it out. So the thing that's kind of lame, again, and I watched other YouTube video solutions, and this thing just comes out a lot easier. But in my piece, it's just a little bit trickier. You have to take this head. This is, by the way, a smaller head than this head. And will be, hopefully you can see this actually right here. You can see that this is just a little bit smaller than this. You take the smaller head, okay? Again, this is how it's gonna start, and then you basically rotate. You take the smaller head and you just put it through the loop of Hanayama. And you just have to take your thumb and just push a little bit, it'll pop out. Okay, there's gonna be some resistance. And now of course the gap is this way, the gap is this way, and it's child's play to take it out. Okay, so this is no-name piece. We're going to be done here. And then again for here, Hanayama and Trinity, pretty obvious. You rotate it so that the gaps are aligned. Now both of these gaps are vertical gaps, so again, it's pretty easy to just take it out. And so again, I just want to show you, this is a vertical gap, this is a vertical gap, right? These two are vertical gaps, and the only gap that's actually the horizontal gap is the no-name. So you can see the difference where the gaps are, and that's why in order to separate the no-name piece from the Trinity piece, you had to, you know, you had to do this, right? Like you had to, it wasn't good enough. It was not good enough to have this situation. You had to rotate it actually, so 90 degrees, so that so-called horizontal and the vertical come together. That's why you have this beautiful petal shape, like here, okay? So there you go. This is how you disassemble Trinity. I hope that was pretty straightforward. So in order to reassemble it, this is literally a case where you just have to retrace all the steps. So hope you enjoyed that. See if you can retrace the steps without watching that solution. Okay, so hopefully you tried. You pause my video and try to do it through memory. If you can't, here we go. Take the Trinity and take the Hanayama. Oh, okay, obviously this is not the Hanayama because of the gap is horizontal. This is the Hanayama. Okay, so hold it like this so you can see both Trinity and Hanayama, right? So do it like this. Now you have a choice. You can either put it in like this so the Hanayama is facing up, or you can turn it so Hanayama is facing down. I hope you remember from the disassembly portion of this video that you want to turn it so that the Hanayama is facing down. If you do it up, you're not going to progress very far. So here we go. Hanayama turns down, and then we insert this way. Okay, so now you see Trinity here, and you see the Hanayama facing downward. Once you do it like this, you want to turn the piece so that it's linked in this fashion with the tail against the head, like this, okay? So we have now recreated the Trinity and the Hanayama link. Now you take the so-called no-name piece. Again, it should be pretty clear that this head is a little bit smaller than this head, the left smaller than the right. You want to put the smaller head to your left, okay? So hold it like this. Hopefully that's clear. You do not want to hold it like this, for instance, which would be opposite. You want to take the small head, you want to put it behind the hole of Hanayama. Remember, this is Trinity, this is Hanayama. And then to reverse what we did, you take this small head and you simply force it through the hole like this. Just take your finger and you just kind of force it through. Okay, hold on a second here. Am I doing this wrong? Oh, I'm sorry. Why was I doing this? That's so stupid, right? Okay, so first of all, you take the small head, you put it behind, and obviously you have to go into you have to use the gap to go in first, right? So here goes. Hopefully I didn't confuse you too much. So again, smaller head, bigger head. Please put the small head behind the hole and then go in this way so that the small head is facing deep. So small head facing down, larger head facing up. So you're going to turn it like that, get in there, and then you obviously push the small head through like this. Okay, so you pushed it through, and now it looks like this again, right? Okay, so now we're going to recreate the petal. So this is Trinity. So we're going to let Hanayama fall like this. And then you're going to take the no-name piece and you're going to loop it around the head here. So let's do that. See, again, this is a pretty tight configuration here. Okay, come on, I know you can do it. Did I do something wrong? No, this is a small head. Go through this way. I think, oh, there it is, yeah. So basically, you have to use the hole up top. The hole in the bottom and the tail is too small. So again, I'm gonna take it out again just to show you. Okay, so again, you have the small head, big head, turn it, go through, and then put this head through. And then now, instead of doing the chain, you just basically put the head of Hanayama through the hole of the no-name piece. And then you want to have this configuration so that the neck of the Hanayama is now in the tail loop here, okay? So once you're in this position, you're going to try to again, recreate the rose petal. So you have to move it along, and then you have to twist it like this, right? You have to twist it like that. How do I describe this motion? You just have to kind of rotate it towards you and down, and then basically push it using the gap. You just push it in here like this, okay? And if you push it like this, the Hanayama will automatically fall, and then you again see the small little tail here. This is forming the loop, the tail loop of Hanayama. So you have this position now, okay, and then you just basically push it all the way through. If you push it all the way through, you now have a situation where you have the no-name piece now in the hole here. This is Trinity, and here's the Hanayama with the tail up here. And so now you want to take this. This is the tail of the no-name, and you want to put it through the hole of Hanayama like this. So now, if you do that, if you push it through, then what will happen is no-name will just fall like this, and the Hanayama will go up, right? So you can see that we've passed through the loop here. The tail of Hanayama passed through the loop here, okay? And now you want to get this back over the neck and fall down here again. So again, you have to sort of wriggle the no-name, and keeping in mind where the thinnest part of the tail of Hanayama is, you just want to try to get it over over that neck. And as you can see, it doesn't take too much, shouldn't take too much. See, we already did it. So we basically got the Hanayama now to be falling off like this. And then once we have the Hanayama kind of dangling from the loop of the no-name piece and the Trinity piece, it's actually technically dangling off of the Trinity piece. You no longer need to have the head of no-name in the hole. You can move it back out like this. And now we're in almost that configuration. Now, you could be forgiven if you were to say this is done, we're finished. But remember, you have to put it back to its original position. And the original position, the Trinity is not in our right hand, it's in our left hand, right? So remember, we had to put the Trinity through the hole of no-name. So if you need to, what you need to do, of course, is you just need to reverse it. So all you have to do is you have to go like this, and now we're reversing it, right? Now you can, of course, just turn it over and do it that way, but you know, I can do it either way, okay? But the bottom line is you got to get Trinity over back to the left hand. So you just have to take this and you push it back through, and then you take this and you push this back through, and now all of a sudden we have switched the Trinity piece over back into our left hand, and the no-name piece is now in the right hand. Hanayama is hanging here, and if you look carefully, you can see here's Trinity, here's no-name, here's Hanayama. This is the original configuration of the Trinity puzzle, and you've done it, okay? So hopefully that wasn't too confusing, and now you know how to basically assemble and disassemble. So we're done with the puzzle. Okay, so now this is the bonus time. So bonus time is me essentially just trying to show you in slow motion for the next few minutes how I can make the first move, which is pretty critical. So the first move, remember, was to take the Trinity piece and move it through the hole of the no-name piece to reverse the two. So here we go again. You're going to take it like this, and then you see the neck, right? This little neck. We're going to slip that underneath just like that, and then it'll be a little bit tight, but again, if you move the Hanayama up a little bit, you will naturally push that through. Now, once you push this through, you have to get this head through. You're going to push, 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 and then you're going to get stuck right here every single stinking time. But now you know that eventually it's going to have to go through, and it's going to curve over, right? When it curves over is when you're home free. So again, I take my finger, or my left hand, my ring finger, as I'm exerting gentle pressure here. I'm just sort of going back and forth and trying to figure out what position of the Hanayama to get this thing through. And you know that you're going to have to get it through somehow. You know, come on. And then you're just wriggling it while you're pushing this head through. What is it gonna take? What is it gonna take? Okay, and then again, I pushed it through. And once you push it through, you want to immediately rotate it towards you. And if you do that, you will have this configuration, okay? So that's move number one. Now I can go forward and do the same old thing, and you know how to disassemble again. You know, you put the no-name piece halfway through, you get it into position, and then you want to get the tail of Hanayama above this ridge, blah, blah, blah. But I want to now go backwards, right, to show you how to do backwards. So I know that the first time I did the puzzle, I just went backwards, again, through, right, like this. And it's a lot easier to do this way too. But one way of doing it is you just take this and then you just reverse it. And then you now have the Trinity in your left hand, and you're trying to do the same thing by pushing it through the loop. And this is a lot easier for some reason. Look how smooth it goes. It goes in, and then just smooth as silk, you turn the corner. Smooth as silk, you turn the corner. And look, you're in the position now where if you turn it around, you have Trinity in my left hand and the no-name piece in my right? So going backwards is a lot easier than moving forwards. And again, I don't know whether it's just a kind of a wrinkle unique to my Trinity or whether all Trinities have it. Certainly when I watch some of the other YouTube video solutions, it doesn't seem like they have quite the tightness that mine does. So let's do this again. We're gonna do Trinity through the loop of no-name. Again, you know, push down, and then you get this head through first. Once this head is through, you now have to push this head through while wriggling the Hanayama. And you have to, sometimes you have to put this up quite high up. So again, I push until there's a resistance right here, and then without messing about too much. You don't have to, I don't want to jam it too much. I just want to slowly go like that. And now we know that this is through. The minute this is through, we want to take it and then rotate this way. Just like that. And if you do that, you're through. So that went pretty smooth. Okay, so now let's do it backwards. So what I'll do is I'll turn it around, and then we're going to put Trinity back through the no-name. And again, this part is just a lot easier. Again, rotating it through this way, and we are back into our original position. Okay, Trinity, no-name. Let's do it again. Go through. See the neck. You have to make this go through this hole. You have to make it go down, and then get this thing through. Now we've got this head to contend. We're going to push it just like that. And then again, I'm going to be gentle with this thing. I'm going to let this move in response to me pushing the head through. Again, we're stuck here. We're stuck. And again, sometimes, you just have to move it in and out, like, this direction, up and down, left and right. And if you just keep wiggling, you're going to get this out. And then again, immediately begin to move towards yourself, and you rotate. So yeah, see, it's not too bad. Now I can reverse, turn it around and do the same thing, or I can just go backwards if you're feeling cocky. So going backwards, this goes through, that goes through. Hanayama. I think this is the wrong configuration here. Hold on. Okay, the Hanayama has to be moving upwards a little bit. So go through. And now you have to come on. Yeah, maybe I'm a little bit too cocky. It is a little bit easier if I just did it this way. I just went that way and then twisted it around that way. Yeah, that's how you get the Trinity in the original position. So again, just sort of showing you over and over, because this is the first move, and it's such an important move to get right. So again, I'm here now, and you just kind of wriggle it sometimes, left and right, up and down as you're putting pressure against that head. You're eventually going to get that head through and then move towards you and let things drop, and now you're in the perfect position to start playing with this tail here. Remember to get back to the original position. You can either try to go backwards, which is honestly a little tricky. I tried doing it. I did it once earlier in this video without too many problems, but the orientation is just really tough to do. Like, you're trying to get through here, and then you get stuck, and then you kind of forget how you want to do this, and the tail is kind of hard. Again, I think it's easier just to reverse and do it this way. It just seems a lot more natural for me to do it. And then you're back to Trinity in the left, no name on the right, Hanayama falling. And you know you're in the right orientation. We can see Trinity like that, and then on the Hanayama, you have to turn around to see that. Okay, so that's how you know you're in the original configuration. Okay, so hopefully I've given you a lot of different orientations and angles to really help you with these moves to untangle Trinity. I guess I'll end with just one more assembly and disassembly, just to show you what I'm doing. Okay, so here we go. Trinity. Let's go through the hole here. You've seen this a whole bunch of times. Here we go. Okay, go all the way through. I'm going to rotate it, let it drop. Now we're going to get no name into position here, and we're going to, while we're wiggling this thing, we want to get the loop, the tail of Hanayama over the neck here. So here we go. Let's try to go up. I usually find the most success getting the narrow part. So you have to actually rotate it over a little bit. And then as you can see, I've already succeeded. So now the loop is over the neck into this little groove. And then going over this piece, we're going to move the tail loop of no name through the gap here. So this goes up, and then the Hanayama falls down. This goes up. Again, my favorite position, right here. Pop that puppy out. Now we're basically solved. Go like this. Small hole, push through the hole here. Small head, push through the hole here. Then this comes out. And then, of course, we turn it around. This goes out. So we're done. To reassemble, Trinity, Hanayama. Hanayama goes down. This goes through. Turn it around. Like this. Okay, so small head is going to be facing downward or deep. Go through, the small head goes through the loop. Once it goes through the loop, we're going to go lift it up like that. This is, remember the Hanayama piece. We're going to now okay, we're going to rotate it. So you might have to move this down a little bit. Rotate it, curve it so that we form again the nice little position right here. This is, of course, the Hanayama through this little gap. This is no name. This is Trinity. Push it down. Once we push it down, this loop goes through this hole like this. So this goes up. Hanayama goes up, and no name goes down and falls this way. And then we wriggle, so that the tail of Hanayama goes back over the ridge and falls hanging off of Trinity. So just like that. Okay, that was actually pretty easy to slide down. Remember, use this give. This is what you're going to use to move this up and down pretty easily. Again, to go back up, you have to use the give again, and you have to kind of turn it almost. You have to turn the Hanayama, and then you will eventually get this little narrow piece over the neck over here. So hopefully I can show you that again. You know, just takes a little bit of wriggling. See, just like that. You wriggle, you're up. And then take it, go back down. It's the same thing. Wriggle, jiggle, and then you let it fall. Again, because you have so much space here, you're usually able to create a big enough gap to get this tail loop up. Now, once this is done, you can remove the no name out of the hole of Trinity, and then we're going to just take Trinity back through the loop here. So, can I do it again? Can I do it? and not make it look like I'm an idiot. Go through. The hole is now through. Okay, there it is. See? So there you go. And look, we have Trinity on my right, no name on the left, and then the Hanayama sign back here. So that took a few minutes. Level 6 Hanayama. A beautiful, well-made puzzle. One of my favorites to assemble and disassemble. I hope that, again, really detailed video helps you out. Until next time, do take care.